if someone is leaving a religion and they're trying to decide what religion is true, they might be inclined to think, well, they're all true, so I'm not going to worry about sorting it out. How can I tell? But we were talking today about what's called the law of non-contradiction, and that's that two things that are totally opposite can't both be true at the same time. But I think when we look at the world's religions, we see that they teach things that are very opposite and different, and they can't be true at the same time. And yet when we say, well, all religions are the same, we're basically saying that's true. For example, I can think offhand, have we as human beings had thousands of lives in the past, or is this our first life? Some teach it one way, some religions teach it another way. Is there a God who's a personal God who actually thought about making people, who wants to have a relationship with people, or is God just the power, the force of the universe, just that spirit of power that's not personal? What about Jesus Christ? Is he just a prophet as Islam teaches? Or is it, as he taught, and as was prophesied in the Bible, mighty God come to earth in human form? Those are different. So someone can't reasonably think that both Islam and Christianity are true. And I have heard that sometimes from Muslims, that I believe them both, they're both true, they both teach the same thing, except that Christians made Jesus a God. But if we go back to the early roots of Christianity and what Jesus said himself, even before Muhammad was born, we can prove that Christians believed, and Jesus taught, that he was the Son of God. So that's another contradiction. Maybe, Luke, you could give us some contradictions that you see in world religions.
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I think that when we look at, say, for example, the Eastern religions compared to the main Western religions, many of the Eastern religions, like you said before, have a focus on God as an impersonal force. It's not really a mind in the way that we would think of it, but it's an impersonal force. And furthermore, there aren't such things as good and evil. Everything is sort of an illusion. In fact, everything is one. I find this to be one of the most contradictory concepts in the Eastern religions. To say that everything is one sort of means that there's no difference between things. We're talking here about rules of logic. Well, one of the rules of logic is called the indiscernibility of identicals, which is to say that if you have two things, if they are different in any way, then they are not the same thing. And so this is very contradictory with the Eastern religions, which say all is one, I am you, we are all the same, we're part of the wave is one, or however they might phrase it.
Because the fact that you are sitting there and I am sitting here means we're not identical.
Right, I mean, and I'm a man and you're a woman, and there are all sorts of other differences, almost uncountable differences among things in the world.
I think that's a very difficult thing in Eastern religion, is that sense of nimbutsu, that everything is one, or it's all together, and that to be enlightened, you have to be able to see that it's the same. One book I read by a Buddhist talked about seeing the crooked tree straight. If you can see a crooked tree and look at it, and you know in your heart of hearts it is straight, then you can be enlightened. Well, folks, do you see the problem that presents for logical people? This is one reason I have trouble with Hinduism and Buddhism.